press.
All right, do we have an audience of citizens? No. Oh, the approval of the minutes from May 16th. Is there any changes or corrections for May 16th meeting minutes?
I don't see, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Okay. A second?
Second.
Okay. No audience of citizens. Did Tina give you a report?
No, she'll be sending it to Juliet though for the
Oh.
minutes.
Senior housing, Ann. Did you have a report, Ann? You have a report?
Well, I wanted to remind everyone that they should go and get the survey. You can do it online at Survey Monkey. This is for the Plan of Conservation and Development Survey.
So that's
And
a
we do
different
have some
survey.
here.
Is that a different survey from the first one we did?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
This is for the
okay.
Plan of Conservation and Development. The other one was for the
Housing.
low-income housing. So it's two different surveys. There are some questions on there that deal with that, but not an awful. Most of this is just interesting what the Roche citizens are, what kind of they're trying, I think from the way it looks to me, some of the questions look like they're trying to get more of a survey of what kind of a population we have than they are of what the population's interests are. Well, they do have some of the interests in there too, but a lot of it is questions about, well, and then this one here says, I like Berlin now, keep it like it is. It says, please select the statement that best represents your thoughts about Berlin. I like Berlin now, keep it like it is. I think Berlin should continue to grow and change, but incrementally. I think Berlin should be open for significant growth and change and then if you but each one has a other where you put some thought that you have.
Okay, now when does this survey have to be
I
in?
think
Because
this
I
one
missed
has to
the
be in.
deadline for the other one.
I think this one has to be in by the end of the month. I think it's the end of the month. I think it's maybe like the 25th, 26th. I forget, because they did tell me. I don't see it in here as to when it has to be in, but I think it's the end of the month.
We have any else on the tape?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
there-
think
yes.
Tina just put some out there, because I told them, when I
Is that
went
out
to the
there?
meeting, I told them, yes, I told them to please put it out there. Yeah. And I tried telling some of the people here about it.
Are they gonna do the survey here? People here? You think people here will do the survey?
Well, I'm going to, of course. it's
I
not
am
to the
too.
meeting, You know, and there's going to be 2 more meetings this week.
Oh,
One is Thursday. There's one on Wednesday, I think, and there's 2 parts of a meeting on Thursday. Wednesday is the,
two parts of the meeting?
yeah, one meeting is at 5, and then the next one's at 5:15 in the Board of Ed, and the next one's gonna be at 7. And they're 2 different sections. Unfortunately, I didn't grab the other piece of paper that they gave us that had what the meetings were about. And then the one at 7 p.m. on the 22nd on Wednesday, that one is about housing.
And that's Wednesday?
Wednesday at 7, and these are all in the Board of Ed.
Board of Ed.
So is the 5:15 and the 7, they're both on Wednesday?
No, the 5:15 and the 7, and the 5:15 and 7 are on the 23rd, they're on Thursday.
Oh, okay.
And then the Wednesday meeting is 7. And it covers it's covering different sections. Each one has has a different section.
We might like to go to that one, that Board of Ed one on Wednesday.
And this is it's, to me, almost all of these things are very just generic, sort of. Housing, they have a section, housing, economic development, what kind of development should be encouraged. should the town focus more on up to 5 items, economic development, improving municipal buildings, improving municipal services, roadways, traffic, bicycles, pedestrians, arts and culture, preserving farms. Some of the questions they were asking, like the other one that I went to last week, they were asking about, they were asking questions about what kind of things we looked for when we went to do things. They asked questions about, do we want to preserve more land? Do we want to build on more land? Do we want to change the designation of some of the things? And they had a very interesting system with this one. You had to click them. So they put the future up on the board and it gave you 4 choices, and you push the number for the choice that you want, which was interesting.
Would they give you a remote?
Yeah, it was a little remote.
Oh, really?
And so it was all on a screen, and they put the thing up on the question up on the screen, and there was 4 answers that they picked. And then you had to pick which one you thought applied most to the way you felt about it. Oh, so that was kind of different.
Very high tech.
Better roll the time.
Oh, my.
What if I go smooth this summer?
That could be old fashioned.
Did you feel that some of these questions, now just what you're going over briefly, it seems like some of them were what we responded to when we
Well,
did
yeah.
the other survey.
Yeah, well, they would have been, because those other questions also apply, even though they just apply to housing. They also apply to how people, what kind of housing people are looking for, what kind of a town are the people moving into. You know,
Yeah.
people, when they're looking for a place to move to, they have different desires and things that they want.
Right.
You know, and the problem is, and, you know, I think the problem is with surveys, is not enough people are taking them, for one thing. Berlin,
By
to me,
law, they
Berlin
have
is
to
not
do
a
this
very
every
good-
10 years. They have to do it every 10 years. by
Yeah,
law.
we have to. do
What, the
everything.
survey you have there?
Yep, the plan of conservation.
Not necessarily the survey, but we have to
Plan.
put in a new conservation. We have to do it every 10 years for a new plan.
This is the next one.
So we have to go back and visit the other plan, you know, you have to look at what you
You
had.
don't have to
And then
do
you
it
say
tonight
to
because I'm
yourself,
coming
how did that
tomorrow.
work?
No, I'm
Times
coming
have
Wednesday.
changed.
Yeah, as times change and situations in town change, then you're gonna have to update. So that's why they have to be updated every 10 years.
Now, that other one that we did also had to be on a time frame. That was 5 years?
That's 5 years.
5 years.
So that one's updated more often, the housing one's updated, update more often.
Yeah, and this one's every 10 years. Oh,
Why
You know-
it's gonna change.
a lot of surveys. Do you see anything done? I'm hoping things get done.
Well, I think,
You're diligent, Ann, and I'm happy that you're doing it, but I hope that your efforts have
yeah,
some
well,
success.
I think part of the problem is we can survey all that we want, but unless you can get people to come to things to vote on them, you're not gonna get stuff passed. This is we're starting to have a problem now where the younger people don't care to go, and they don't wanna work on commissions, they don't wanna do anything that's gonna require them to do work like this.
You're absolutely right.
And they can't be bothered to come out and vote. Well, I grant you, kids today are having a hard time. A lot of them have to hold 2 jobs apiece in order to live.
And they're also busy with all the things that their kids are involved in.
Yeah,
Things like
or the
that.
ones that have kids are, they're so
Yeah.
busy running around, running their kids around and doing stuff. But there's got to be some better way. We need to start thinking about perhaps we could do electronic ballots for referendum questions. That might not be a bad thing. If we could figure out how to do it and do it safely. You know, those that can't get to the poll could vote electronically.
Yeah.
That might be one way to get the kids to do things. I don't know. I just don't know. It's hard to say. I can't just my kids are doing any kind of volunteerism, anything. It's-
No,
Like a dead
mine
horse.
either, but they're also working until 5 or 6
Yeah.
o'clock, and then they come home and
They
they,
get home, they're tired.
yeah. They don't want to do that stuff like we used to run home and with dinner on the table and then go out to volunteer. They don't want to do that.
And one thing Joe Duckowitz brought up at that meeting, he's right. We have to be very careful, I think, with how we're spending our money. If we need to get a paid fire department, do you know what that's gonna
Oh my God,
cost you?
forget about
Well, what are you gonna do?
scale.
You're not getting, no, the truth is, we're not getting the people to run the volunteer department.
No,
The kids are not doing that.
there's no, I think they're promoting it, but nobody's running to the.
They try hard, but well, like she says, the younger kids, the younger men that used to go, my husband was married with 2 kids. He was a volunteer fireman for 30 years. Phone would ring in the middle of the night and he'd throw on his pants and tear off and go to whatever fire there was and come home and get back in bed and get up and go to work at the town, at the highway department in the morning.
Yeah, but you know, that's another thing. Some people don't live close by. Or, you know, they don't work close by. So they're
Oh, yeah.
having to go farther to work and they can't get up or if the volunteer thing goes off, they're not
But the whole
around.
thing is, I don't think those guys thought about it that way.
So what
They lived
happens
in
is,
town.
like you said, they'll, the alarm goes off, they'll make it to the station, but they won't get there fast enough. They end up holding in place in case somebody else needs a break, then they'll call them into the scene. But most of the times they'll stay in that firehouse waiting.
Yeah.
Just
You know,
for,
and these guys took it as something that was, to them, that was a civic duty. They felt that it was
Yes.
necessary, and today's kids don't think like that.
that happened to me a few times when I was active. Because of my location, I used to go to the station and I ended up there waiting. And then the scene would all be done and everything, and put it in, put everything away, and then I'd go home. Most of the times I wasn't on the scene right away. I had to just stay there and wait.
Well, it depends too. If you're working out of town, you can't come back for a fire,
No,
you know?
you can't be, but what
Well,
happens?
yeah,
is
no,
they just
if you-
Waste the whole
They
day.
took whoever was, luckily at the time that my husband was in, there was quite a few
Yeah,
guys
because I think most of the time-
that were here.
Wow.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that
But there are
helped.
some that are.
But what's our suggestion gonna be for getting another fire department? As a
think
town,
it's-
I think we're gonna end up having to get coverage from other towns and
I
we may
was
not
just
be
gonna
able.
Oh,
say
we do
that.
already. We got
Yeah,
mutual
well.
aid with Rocky Hill.
I
We have
think
mutual
they're
aid
gonna consolidate.
Well, we
I
have
bet you
mutual
that's-
aid with a lot of
in Britain.
But at some point, we
Newington
may end up
also.
dishing money to other towns just to keep our
Or
firemen,
getting
give us
paid-
fire protection.
Paid fire department, because those buildings are getting, the apartment buildings are getting bigger and we may end up with a paid fire.
This is all something that's gonna come
Yeah.
around in a short, not that far away either. So it's definitely something that we have to think of.
And those fire departments have built those buildings on their own, you know? the
Yeah,
ones that they
that's the
have
other thing. The town owns the trucks.
Yeah.
But the buildings are owned by the
by
fire
the
department.
fire departments, yes. And they,
What do
and
we
they're-
do in those, what do we do in those if we don't have a fire department to have them anymore?
that's right, and that was, those firemen were like a community of people, they were very willing to go
Well,
out.
it's like your police departments, they become a fraternity and, you know, all the families communicate with each other and
Yeah.
everybody helps. and
Yeah.
We go out to fires and bring something to drink or something to eat if
Yeah.
it's some long-term thing. But today's kids just can't. Well, for
No.
one thing, they're not here.
No. It's so
And
true.
most women are, when we were home all day.
Yeah.
Something happened, we could go up to the fire department with something interesting to do.
Yeah, well, that's very true. Now the women are all working and
Yeah.
it's not easy, and the men are all working and not close by
No,
either,
not
you
here.
know? Everybody's job is far reaching now.
A lot of them are retiring now, and
Yeah.
not too many new ones are coming through the.
So
town.
that's the problem, is they just can't get the younger guys, not that they would like to, and there's, I'm sure, a few guys that have come in that have stayed and become members and, you know, are enjoying the camaraderie and the other such benefits that go along with the some kind of a service job like that, like the guys who belong to the Lions and places like that. All these guys get a good feeling from the community of it, but unfortunately, the younger people today, that's just going away.
Dollar bill, it's not there.
They don't even
Well, plus
wanna
it's
work,
change-
let
It's
alone.
a change, well, it's a change in society. It's the way-
Yes,
it's
that's
changing the
right.
way people look at things.
That's right. They don't even, some of them don't even wanna work, let alone volunteer,
Yeah,
you know? They're having such a hard time, so. I don't know. I just hope, I think someday you're right, though. Someday it will come to that. And, you know, we have to think about that. The town has to think about that. Okay, now Tina is gonna send her report to Juliet. Senior housing, Ian is all set. Community center. Oh, the community center, senior center. That report has been turned over to the council. The council has turned it over to the finance board. Now, we're waiting to hear what's gonna go, how it's gonna go from there. The advisory committee has not heard anything from the finance board, so I guess they're still reviewing it, they're going through it, but I do have to say that I was very happy to see so many people here at the center when we had the forum, because there had to be almost 90 people here that day. And not only were they here, but they spoke out, and that was good, because they let the administrators know how they feel about things, and I was glad to see that, you know? Because it can't just be the same people or the people on the committee, we can't always be the ones saying. They have to hear from the public and how the public feels. So I thought that was a very good turnout. And you know, I said that to them. I said, when you have it at the senior center, the seniors will turn out because they want to know what's happening. They want to know what's, you know, what the story is. So it was really very encouraging to see that, especially after going to so many meetings, one after another, and then to see people come. There weren't as many people at night. There was about 40 people at night, but during the day, there was a good amount. So that was good, you know? Okay, does anybody have any questions on that report? Housing, community center? No, okay, the Knights of Columbus, let's see. Knights of Columbus, I talked to Joe last night. You know, I give him so much credit because this has been such a long thing, long drawn out thing. We've been working at this for at least 5 years, but the council now has extended the option agreement to September 30th, which gives us a little time to maneuver and get things done at this Knights of Columbus. Let me see, July or August, the title will be transferred from the town to the housing authority, and the construction funds are in place, he told me. There will be in place by July. So once the town turns that over to the housing authority, he said, you know, at least the construction funds are there, so he'll be able to keep going. Once the housing authority takes over, that brownfield study that they're waiting to do, the third brownfield study on the property, will be taken over by the housing authority. So that's a good sign, because at least then you have control of what's going on, you know? But he's hoping that this, you know, will all be done by the fall, and that he'll be ready for construction by January or March in 2023. So, I mean, I hope that happens. And I said that to him. I said, Joe, we've been at this for so long, and you keep telling me, and I keep hoping, but I mean, there's a lot of people on the wait list. And I was talking to a lady today, and she said she was on the wait list in all over. Now, this is the lady that does part-time in the afternoon. What's her name, Mary Ann?
Mary Ellen
Mary Ellen.
on Fridays?
No, she was here today. She was here today.
Oh, yeah, she was here today.
Mary Ellen.
Yes.
And she was telling me that she's put in, she lived in Berlin, she wants to come back to Berlin. But she's put in applications all over. She said in Newington, they're still working on last year's waiting list. There's 100, now Newington has a lot of senior housing.
Yeah.
There's 123 people on there combined from last year to this year, the list.
Oh, yeah, I think
That's
if
a lot
you,
of
I'm
people.
gonna tell you, I think even if you go to New Britain, I had been on the waiting list on those for school apartments. I never heard a thing. And it's been almost 3 years.
She said that. She says, you don't hear back from them, so you have to keep calling them to find out what your status is. And then they tell you that you're like 123 on the list.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's discouraging. It really is, when you figure how many senior citizens are waiting for housing. And you know, Southington has a lot of housing, New Britain has housing, Newington has a good amount of senior housing, and they still have 123 people on their wait list. Now, that doesn't mean they're all Newington people, they could be waitlisted
Surrounding
from.
town.
Yeah, because I think she lives in, I think.
What
she said-
about the 6 openings here that are still empty apartments?
Are
There's
they?
2 over here
Yeah.
that empty from
I mean,
months.
I don't know what DeMarco's doing, but it
4
is
down
filling
the
these
Marjorie
apartments.
Morris.
Aren't they supposed to clean them up before new people?
How
move
long
in?
does it take?
Have they done that?
The one here, the lady died before she moved in.
She died before she could move in, and her family came in and took the stuff they wanted, and now everything else is sitting in there. And nothing's being done.
It was,
Has that apartment been cleaned up?
Nothing's being done.
yes,
Oh, it was cleaned up.
It
before
was
she
cleaned up, but
up.
she couldn't even move in because she died.
No, she moved in. I mean,
what are
she
they
put all her
waiting
stuff
for?
in there,
The ones
but she
in-
never got here because she died before she could move in.
But her stuff
But
was.
her stuff was in
Exactly.
there. We
It
were
was a
told she
family
took-
that's
the
not
family took
talking
what they
to
wanted.
each other, you know? So people have been taking what they want in the family. yeah.
We don't see her. We don't see Liz. We don't see
As
her.
far as I know, they're not working on Josie's either, her apartment's empty. Barbara, 4, 5 of them down the
Yep,
Marjorie
Josie's
Morris.
his apartment is empty.
So how many apartments are empty here?
2,
2 here, and I don't know how many at Marjorie.
5.
5?
Barbara, is there any ruling on, these wait lists that Berlin people are given priority when there are places that are available?
No, they can't do that because it's federally funded. So they
And
can't.
that's why we can't specify that it's 65 and over. That's why we end up with some people living in the 50s, whatever, if they have some kind of issue.
Empty person. I'm gonna talk to Joe.
They still haven't done our recertifications.
Yeah, Sharon is.
What's recertification?
Every year, we have to turn over statements, your bank
All your-
statements,
all
your
financial
income, this,
information.
that.
So they can check it against your rent.
Yeah,
Your rent's controlled by how much you make.
it's usually done by now.
We submitted them in January. I'm getting an email that I'm going to send to Joe. There's a whole bunch of things I'm just gonna put on
Usually-
there.
You'll know whether your rent went up by, you usually pay it the 1st of July.
She had to give us, when they finished doing their certification, she has to hand us the packet back with all the papers we submitted. And in it, it has a form that says, this is your rent to starting July 1st, this is gonna be your rent. We're all gonna just pay our rent from this month, the same rent we paid this month,
Yeah.
because we don't know what we're
Put
doing.
an increase in, yeah. Till I find
So
out.
when is the increase supposed to be? July 1st?
Yeah.
But we should have had these back in March.
Yeah,
They should have come back to us in March, as far as I'm concerned. That's usually when I got my
Yeah.
March or April.
Now, does that girl have charge of all this stuff?
I
Yes.
have no-
I know DeMarco is the management company, but who's in charge of this stuff?
her.
I have no clue.
I
It
think
would
it's
have to be her. She works for them.
She's the one that collected everything. It's all down to her office.
So you don't know what your rents are until
That's
she does the recertification.
Does anybody here actually know who Mary worked for? Did Mary work for DeMarco, or did she work for the housing?
For housing.
Why didn't we get another person who works for housing?
Because DeMarco applied to the, now, I don't know how this worked, and I'll find out. I think DeMarco applied to the town to be the management company or to the housing authority. I don't know how DeMarco got in there, and I will ask Joe when I call him today.
We're not happy with them. We get no
I told
response
him
from them.
that.
We've had our door broken and it stayed broke, the outside door to get in. You couldn't get in or out
Yeah,
for
I told them that last
a week and a
time.
half, 2 weeks at a time. It would be broke, they'd come fix it, it would be broke again, they'd come fix it. Finally, they ended up getting a whole new part from somewhere that took
Yeah.
a whole weekend.
I had told Tina all about that, what was going on.
The
And
washing machines are always breaking down.
And she had called and said that DeMarco, Liz, and Liz's boss, whoever that is, she's supposed to have somebody over there. They were gonna be at a
Yeah.
meeting.
They were gonna.
At that meeting we had a lot of people over there. Just Liz showed up.
She's the only one that showed up. She listened to our complaints,
Nobody
made
else
lots of
did.
promises. and left.
DeMarco didn't come, no one.
I mean, I don't know.
I would think the housing authority has to, take hold of this.
I think they have, well, that's why
It has
I'm
to be
making
addressed.
this email. I'm gonna
Yes,
send,
it has to be
I'm gonna
addressed.
send an email to everyone on the housing authority. Not just to Joe, I'm gonna send it to everybody.
Because when I
This is the
talked,
problems we're
Is the
having.
housing authority Berlin?
Yeah.
Berlin
it's
Housing
Berlin.
Authority.
So
But when I-
Berlin owns that?
the housing authority is separate, it's not Berlin, it's the Berlin Housing Authority, but they're their own entity, so that this
So
housing.
it doesn't, Berlin doesn't actually own our place.
No, that's why we
See,
couldn't get the, that's why we couldn't get the parking lot done, because
Yeah.
the housing
And
authority
they're all
owns the
telling
parking
me,
lot.
you write to check Berlin housing. I said, that's just the title. is
That's right,
music."
the Berlin Housing Authority.
I know that.
Yeah. But I just think that, Joe has to know this, and, when I talked to Joe about this, he said, you have a person that takes complaints, and who is that? A lady that lives here. She's like, a liaison for
Oh,
people that live.
I never heard that.
Who is it?
that's Sandy.
Sandy, that's the name, Sandy.
Sandy's a pain in the ass. She's not any liaison for
Useless.
us.
Useless. She's
So
out
she
of
doesn't-
everybody in there.
Can I write
she's
that?
out
Sandy's
the
a pain
most,
in the ass.
okay?
Why
And
does she say
she's the
she's
one that
taking
has the master key. If we get locked out for some reason, which is often,
Oh, no, that's the other Sandy. I was thinking I'm thinking Sharon. All right, no, Sandy,
she
Sandy's a sweetheart, but she's not.
no,
with it.
she's not
Sorry.
with it. No, she's a
And
nice
you could
person.
report
when
all
I-
you wanted to her and she's not gonna.
And I hate to tell you how many times we call the police to open the door for us. I called them a couple weeks ago.
Because she's either out or, yeah. No, I'm getting two people mixed up, pardon.
No, Sandy,
So who's the person that has the key? Sandy?
Sandy, yeah.
Sarah Turner.
Turner.
Is anybody on call for anything like that?
Huh?
Is
The
anybody
police
on
will do
call
it.
for?
They're not
these
thrilled.
things? Pardon?
The policemen, we were told, they're not thrilled, but they'll do it.
They do have an extra.
No, but I mean, in
key.
your facility, is there somebody that is on call for these kinds of emergencies where you can't get in the door?
Well, Sandy
somebody
has
could
the extra
page-
key.
We have
Sandy
a
has the extra key and that's all.
Yeah, but
When
if
I
she's
got
not
her
here,
door,
what
if she's not there,
Huh?
you're just.
Then
got-
you're
you gotta
proof
find
out of
somebody
luck.
else.
If you knock on her door, there's nobody there, then you can't get in the building.
No, not in the building. You can't get in our apartment.
Into your
She has an
apartment.
apartment.
Okay.
She has an apartment.
So if she's out, you can't get in your
Right,
apartment.
so
Right.
it's your responsibility really to try to
To
have
have
an
your
extra key. But then, of course, you get people like me and, what's her name, for Ann now, she's always leaving her keys at somebody
Yeah,
else's
she lost her
apartment,
whole
they go
set
out.
of keys.
Yeah.
So
she's-
there's no
she's
real
having a hard time.
easy access to a master key.
Just her and Sandy just has the master key.
Yeah, I gotta get Mr. Key made up myself.
But as
Yeah,
for
but you know,
taking
you have to,
complaints-
you have to also think about this. You have to accept your responsibility. If I don't have the key or code to my house, I can't get in.
Yeah.
So
No,
it has
I
to be your
understand,
personal responsibility. If you're
Well,
leaving
we
your
have no
keys
pro-
all
we have-
over the
I don't think
place.
that's what we have so much as a problem with, but when you say she's a liaison for Joe, she's not turning in any reports for anything. We often tell her that something's wrong and she's not gonna go tell anybody that. I don't think she even tries to call, what's her name, because you can't get a hold of her.
Well, he told me that they have a person down there, and I know, he said, because I
Sandy,
remember that
okay.
name.
Well, maybe it is, maybe, well,
Sorry.
Sandy was always the one that would call Mary. But,
You know, they had
She was
complaints about
friendly with
Mary,
Mary.
but Mary was helpful, at
Yeah.
least, you know?
she knew what she was doing.
Yes,
And
yes.
she was good at handling seniors, this girl had so.
I discussed that with Joe, and I said, you know, sometimes a younger person does not have the ways to deal with seniors, you know?
I mean,
I mean,
she
you
did,
know that too, you deal with seniors.
Oh, I do that all the time. What we
Whatever
have,
you
what we
tell
have
her,
is
she'll say.
the
it's
residents
on
have
her
their own
list.
keys to their apartment,
She
and they have
told
keys
me-
to the building.
she told me she was a rental.
I'm in that office, or anybody
She
that's in
was a
that
rental
office,
agent before
it's
she got
24/7.
this job.
If anything
You'd
happens, somebody
think
loses
you'd
a
have
key, oh,
somebody
no
that at
problem.
least had some
We have a
social
key we lend
service or
out until they
something.
can find their new
Yeah.
ones.
And then they give that key back to
And
you.
they give that key, but they have to sign for it, so we know who has it.
Yeah,
And, you know, because I'm there in the office covering all of these things. If a door doesn't work right, I write a maintenance order out
Yeah. Right, so.
and stuff like that. And,
but what I'm saying is sometimes the younger people don't deal with older people well, you
She's-
know?
She seems to be trying, I'll give her that. It's just that I don't think she understands.
Well,
lot of
that's
stuff.
probably
And
part of it. They
I don't know
understand.
if she is not getting any response from DeMarco, because everything we tell her about, oh yeah, we're gonna take care of that, and you never hear it
It's
again.
on her list.
I don't know if she's not reporting these things, or if she's telling DeMarco and he's saying, yeah, we'll get to that when we have a chance. I don't know.
When you report to her, do you make a list of what you report to her?
Well, now she put a slip out in the line,
Yeah.
and you can
Work
fill it
order.
out for what your work order is. It seems to be getting done a little bit at a time, but you have to remember, they're assigning the guy that's there on Friday to clean. He's only there 5 hours. How much is this person gonna, that's my other biggest complaint, is that we're not getting enough attention for the cleaning, the maintenance,
Who's
none
there
of
for
that.
5 hours?
Whoever that got Ray, is it Ray? Sometimes he's not even there.
What does he have to clean? He doesn't clean your apartments.
No,
No.
the rugs, they're
Rugs.
supposed to vacuum the rugs. A lot of times
Take
he's
the
been there and I
garbage
haven't
out
seen
from
him.
the laundry room and.
Check the laundry room,
Yeah,
make sure all
we
the
did
garbage
that.
is gone. A lot of times we do it ourselves.
Yeah.
I did see someone walking with their garbage at Marjorie Moore. They were going.
But we always bring our own garbage.
Yeah.
We always bring our personal garbage out.
Yeah.
But he does the public baskets that are
Oh,
around in the.
okay.
I mean, you
kitchen.
walk in our place weekend, it's a mess. You know, it's embarrassing to have your family or somebody
Yeah, of
come in.
course.
I wouldn't want anybody to
What's a
see that
mess?
rug.
What's a mess?
The rug down
rugs.
the hall is disgusting
Yeah.
and it's just getting worse.
Well, did they talk about replacing?
They came in and steam cleaned it, which was not even to me, I don't think it was a huge improvement, but
You
it
wanna
did
go
make it
take
look a
a
little
walk?
fresher.
That to me almost seems like a health issue, wouldn't you think?
And then they
yeah.
have these big rugs and we complain about the big ones in the front lobby. Those are always getting covered with stuff.
Yeah.
If he only vacuums them
Move.
once a week, you're walking in and out of the door all the time. How can you do something like that once a week? They move. One of these days, some senior's gonna be coming in and they're gonna catch their toe on that rug and they're gonna break the leg or something.
That's what I said.
I keep trying to straighten them out. And I mean, that's a big, you know what those big mats are like. We've got them here.
I tried it, I couldn't.
Couldn't pick it up. Yeah, I know. You know,
Robbie wrote.
I've got a whole list. I'll send my list, you send your list. We gotta start rattling some cages because we're getting nowhere. We're getting nowhere at all. And when I call, what makes me mad is if I call and I call DeMarco, that just never, I don't know if they're passing the message. Nobody ever calls back. Nobody. Nobody ever calls back. All the times I've. called,
Ray's lucky there. I mean, I see them pass the garbage can, don't take anything out.
What do you mean, they don't take it?
He's usually in Spain or Italy or,
What do you mean they don't take anything out?
and they said last week.
In other words, he didn't take the bag out, throw it in the garbage.
But that's his own personal bed, right?
No, we're talking about whatever gets
Ray's
thrown.
the guy who's supposed to be doing the cleaning on Friday.
Oh, he takes it from the main.
Yeah,
okay,
he
he takes the
on
main-
Friday.
And brings it
Yeah.
where?
Well, I was told he had 5 hours on Friday. That's what she told us at that meeting. She said, oh, well, he's only here for 5 hours on Friday.
That's bullshit. Excuse me.
I almost never see him. Once in.
No,
I
I saw him
actually,
this morning
I
for
saw
a
him this
half
morning.
hour.
Yeah, I saw him this morning. He was
In
walking
the
down the hall with
office.
some kind of a tool.
With the. Now, they told me he broke his wrist, he fell off the ladder. He didn't have a cast on his hand.
I don't know.
You know, use cast too much.
He goes to Spain a lot.
Use braces more.
Well, that has nothing to do with the 5 hours he has to
You know,
work.
use cast.
You
a
know,
lot.
5
The whole
hours.
thing is that he is a part-time employee. How can you keep 30 apartments maintained with a 5-hour employee?
No
I
good,
mean,
no.
things break down. You know,
Lights go
lights
out.
go
You
out.
need somebody every day of the week. Every day of the week, you need at least 5-6 hours a day.
I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know. Well, and then when we were complaining in the fall last year, somebody said, well, you know, your rent isn't even covering the cost of running this building. You know something? If they would fix the heating in the hall, they could be saving a bundle.
So the heat in the hallways
The
now,
heat registers in the hallway are a mess. They run, when it's hot outside, I walked out my door, it was 90 degrees outside. I had a blast of hot air coming through that vent that would have fried your hair. And today, it's beautiful out, it's 60, right? Gorgeous. You shouldn't even need to have the heat on. I walked outside, the thing is blowing ice cold air and it read 66.
Yeah,
on
Is
the
that
thermometer. I
controlled
put a
by-
thermometer out there to keep track of
outside, things.
Thermostats.
it. The
They're just-
thermostat.
Yeah, but, there's outside, those big round. things.
Condensers.
The temperatures are controlled by the outside temperature.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I
Well,
don't know where
that,
they're
that
controlled by.
big thing that's outside.
Oh, that's the air conditioner. That's
Yeah.
it's an air conditioner.
Compressors.
That doesn't control it. The thermostats are gonna control it.
Yeah,
But the
but
thermostats aren't, even if they're set, because the thermostat that's in that hall where I am,
yeah,
that is set at 70. Why would you get such wildly diverging readings when it's set at 70? Wouldn't you think it stayed at 70?
so if it's set at 70, what is the actual, does it give you an actual temperature reading there?
Yeah, that thing doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's a little old tiny thermometer with a red thing.
It's
And I don't know
freezing
how
down
accurate
already.
it is.
It's freezing down my end.
I don't know, because I know with my air conditioner, if I said 70 and I look at that thermometer, it's 70, you know?
Yeah,
It's
well, it's
very
like that
true.
in my apartment. I can set my apartment heat on 70 and I'll look at my thing and it says 70. So
Yeah.
I know that the thing I've got out in the hall is right. And it does not agree with the things on the wall. She's got the heat set at 70 or maybe a little less. And you'll look at the thermometer and the thermometer will record 69, so it's right in the same range. But the heat is not there. It's not working. It's just not
Well,
consistent.
make a list of all this stuff, and I'm gonna have Joe. I'm gonna call Joe when I get home and tell him, I wrote down some notes here, and
Yeah.
he
we've
has
got
to
have-
address this because this is a health issue.
yeah, it's,
And he has to address this with DeMarco. If DeMarco's not doing what they said they're gonna do, then I think that the housing authority has to put
Yeah,
complaints
we
in.
have to have a little bit better. I mean, I think right about now, we settle for somebody there 2 or 3 days a week, it'd be better than nobody, you know?
Yeah, but what I'm thinking now is if they can't maintain these buildings, how are they gonna maintain 50 more apartments that they're gonna put up on
That was
Personal
my
Avenue?
thought as well.
Yeah.
And what's
Right?
going to happen
Exactly.
if they just start running this other building, what's gonna happen to these? I mean, from what everybody said, somebody told me yesterday, they said they went to Marjorie Moore the other day on the bus to pick up some people. And she said to me, she said, it just looks tired. She said, I feel that, it just didn't look really nice. It just looked tired. No flowers, no. And the flowers we have, that's just because girl did it herself, and it was out in the front. She did all the nice flowers that we had.
Lisa did that,
So
right?
that's now.
Lisa,
Yeah.
What kind of support is Joe?
Huh?
I don't know, but I'm gonna find out tonight.
For what? From HUD? I don't know. I don't know where any money's coming from to run the place, to tell you the truth.
You know, I mean, you people go back to Joe. And you give him whatever information you have that needs to be corrected, worked on, whatever.
Right, and then who's
But
he go?
who supports him? When he goes to wherever he has to go and says, you know, they're having trouble with these doors. They break down every other week.
We never could get hold of him.
I can't get a hold of Joe.
Why?
I called him last night, he answered the phone.
I haven't tried calling.
Well, that should be Sandy's work, not mine.
He answers the phone in Polish.
Tina said we should go over her head,
Well, I mean, Tina, yeah, but I mean,
but you
Tina,
can't get Sandy to do that.
Sandy's been doing this a long time. Sandy was doing this when Mary was there, and she was Mary's contact.
She was a good friend of Mary,
And she was
and
a
their
good friend of Mary.
meetings were held in restaurants.
But
That's another
that's-
thing I wanted to ask about meetings. Do you have a meeting place that all of you can get together and
Certainly,
write up a list like this?
we have a crew.
We have
Forget
our-
it, you can't get, I couldn't get those people down here today.
I mean, yeah, we'd be lucky if we could get 5 people. But when she came up for that meeting, she had with us, we have maybe 10, so that's about a third of what was there. A lot of people just don't. They want to go in their partnership.
They'll bitch, but they don't care.
Well, I was gonna ask Joe to our September meeting because I was thinking that I would ask him to just give us an update on what's gonna go on over at Percival Avenue with the new buildings and stuff like that, you know?
I
And
would
I
like to
thought-
do that.
Yeah, and I thought that I would ask him, I even thought about asking him tonight, but I said, Rick, basically, I have a report from him, so I said, I don't have to ask him for tonight. But I did say to him, can you come in the fall? And he said, yes, because by that time, he'll have something to tell us, you know?
Maybe.
And then you can, I'm gonna call him tonight, but then you can also voice your concerns when
Yeah.
he's here.
That would be good,
Yeah, let him answer.
Yeah,
yeah.
It sounds pretty serious to me.
yeah, I mean,
It's
when
just, well,
when
it's
you're
really
dealing
big.
with health
It's
issues.
serious
that's-
enough, and somebody's got to put a handle on this.
Yes.
Well, we weren't doing too bad until the COVID. And then everything just sort of ground to a halt. They stopped doing anything in the building. We were told we couldn't leave our apartments. We couldn't walk in the halls with each other. We had to wear masks. We got nasty letters from DeMarco. We got some that were really nasty. And they told us if we didn't behave, we were going to be out on our ass.
Oh, my goodness.
You can't do that.
In not actually in words, but in very pretty basic language. That if we didn't behave and do what we were supposed to do, we couldn't stay there.
You know, someone told me that one of the ladies, I don't even remember who it was, they said, we can't complain because they'll throw us out.
They can't do that. You gotta go to court for that stuff.
Yeah.
It takes 6, 8, a couple
Well,
of
I mean,
years.
we didn't, you
And I
know,
said that, they
Yeah.
can't do that. She
You
said,
tied it up.
"You'd be
I guess
surprised."
they got, COVID had separate rules. I don't know.
She said they would make it miserable for you
And
and
you would want to
Well,
know.
Mary used to tell me that, well, right now, I couldn't get into this place because my income's not high enough. I used to tell her, try to get rid of me. I'm not much of until they carry me.
well, I think that, you know, I'm concerned because I'm thinking we're gonna have 50 new apartments. Who's gonna take care of those?
She's not managing those better than these. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
If they can't take care of these, and last.
What I would like to know, somebody can find out, can you find out when DeMarco took over? I'd like to know how
They took
long he's
over
been
when
doing
Mary
this.
left. So how long was that?
Oh, if he just took over, no, when Mary left, that wasn't long. It's only about a year and a half.
Yeah.
And that's about the same amount of time we've been going downhill. Well, really, right? Am I wrong?
you're exactly right.
So who is Joe responsible
But try to get that group over there together for anything is virtually impossible.
It's hard to get.
Did you count how many of us were here today? 2 of us signed up for this party today, 2, me and another girl, okay? 2 more, Sandy, somebody told her about it when she was sitting outside, so she come over. And I told this morning, she come over, they let her in, they weren't on the list, right? So 2 out of 31 people over there actually signed up for this party.
Well, we had a full house here, so even if they didn't sign in, it didn't matter.
Well, there's lots of the seniors, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
we
just
had a
that
lot
she
of
feels
people.
bad that we can't get more from our end of
You
it.
know, like,
Well,
But
what are you gonna do? You can't pull teeth if they don't wanna do it.
if it wasn't
well,
something that
well,
interests
my
them
point is, don't expect them to get together
for,
and complain or anything.
for a complaint party, you know.
Yeah,
But I think we might get a few more for that.
Memorial Day, 14 people showed up.
Yeah, we had, yeah, whenever we try to, and that's another thing, we used to, you know, at least when we had some kind of a party or a dinner or something. Of course, all that stopped with COVID, so no one has been doing anything for us
Yeah,
until,
nice that Columbus used to throw it.
yeah, I guess a
dinner.
couple of groups finally started coming and bringing
Ooh,
something,
right.
but nobody would bring it, nobody's been doing anything as far as parties go, so what she does is what did she do the last time? Did she actually buy anything, or did she just give you money to buy stuff?
No, she put the hot dogs.
She bought the hot dogs and stuff.
Yeah.
Who did,
So,
Sandy?
No, Liz.
oh, Demar-
But maybe because maybe if you're right and they're just considering themselves the management company, maybe they wouldn't do, although like we used to get really nice parties in Sage would go all out, we had this big catered.
Sage Park?
Yeah, Sage Park, yeah,
No, I don't think.
Sage Pond.
Oh, Sage Pond.
I lived at Sage Pond for about 4 years before I came there. And they were nice in a way because you had an office and there was a girl in the office.
Now, does DeMarco manage that too? Sage Pond?
Oh, no, no,
No.
Sage Pond has their own,
No,
they're a
it's
management.
like where I was,
Uh,
yeah. The hell was the name of the place now? I can't remember.
A lot of these management companies that have several buildings, they'll have their own staff. And they hire people to stay at the buildings with the people, or at least, a lot of times, if it's a big building, they'll have an
Stonebridge.
office there.
Yeah,
there
Or,
was
you know, they have an
always-
office and there's always somebody there to complain
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, but Stonebridge is private.
yeah,
That's private, so that's a whole different entity, you know? So that's not gonna be like.
so Sage Park,
No, Sage Pond is apartments.
yeah, so Sage, Stonebridge and Orchard Ridge, same thing.
It's probably run by a company. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably run by a company and, you know, the company decides on what kind of staff you're gonna have.
Of course, I paid almost
Access to
$1,000.
stuff.
Well, that's the difference in, you know, your rent, because you're paying more there, they're doing more services.
Oh, yeah, well, no,
You
I'll
know,
agree
where-
with that.
But that
Washer,
shouldn't matter
dryer,
because,
dishwasher.
yeah, but it shouldn't matter because if you have a housing authority, they should be overseeing, you know? And you know what, I talked to Liz, she called me last time we had our thing and I called Joe. She called me the next day, very pleasant,
Oh,
she
yeah,
said, you know,
lovely.
yeah. But I am gonna say something to Joe. I'll call him again tonight and tell him, you know, and I just feel, I feel bad because I think that, you know, like you say, if nobody wants to complain,
Yeah.
nobody
Well,
wants to
we've been
do a
waiting,
list.
you know, the whole thing is we've been waiting a while and I figured, you know, she'd get her feet under her and she'd start doing stuff, start paying attention and I'm just not seeing it. And all the problems we've been having as far as the physical maintenance of the place are beginning to concern me because if you start letting a place go down, it can go down really bad. And then where do we go? We don't have money to move to another apartment. There's no apartments for us to move to on top of it.
No. And that's the whole thing. That's my concern. They gotta be able to take care of this place if they're gonna take care of the new one. So you know, I'll definitely talk to him tonight. I've invited him in the fall and he said he would come.
We have one of the girls from the, I can't remember who it was, but there was one of the girls that works, oh, see, now they've got Sandy on here as the secretary
Is that what
of
you
the
did?
housing authority. Sandy's the secretary for the housing authority, really?
Really?
Well, that's who Joe told me that you should talk to.
Sandy's a resident. I don't think, if she's on the housing authority, well, you know why? Because you have to have somebody who's a tenant of the housing authority.
Oh, okay.
So evidently it's Sandy.
And obviously Sandy's the only one that wants to do it, right? Because nobody else wants to do
Yeah,
it.
Mary thought there.
Why don't you do it, Lois?
Mary probably talked her into it. And I'm sure she's not thinking, I'm certain she's not taking notes for them. I don't think she even goes to the meetings.
She goes to the
Does she
meeting,
go to the meeting?
Oh, yeah.
okay.
but years ago,
Okay, I'll
they
talk
used
to
to go
Joe.
out to eat.
Well, I'll talk to Joe and I will see what he says and I'm gonna tell him to call one of you because he needs to hear it from you. You know, he can't just hear it from me.
Why don't you call me?
Yeah,
My mouth is big enough.
yeah, but you know, the thing is, you're speaking for a lot of people, so he has to understand that, you know?
Yeah.
And he has to do something about it. I'm
Well,
sure.
we've been gathering. Huh?
Where'd you get that?
Sandy gave me this. Not Sandy, Sharon. Sharon gave me.
Sharon?
Sharon gave me this because Sharon went to Jamie for some of her complaints.
Okay.
Okay, so Jamie said, you know what? She said, you need to contact the board. So Sharon comes along and she hands me this. Now Sharon says, we have to send them emails, all emails about how unhappy we are. And I'm going, wait a minute, why are you giving, so how did I get to be the other one that's gonna do this? Because it's mostly the complaint about not getting our research, because that's serious. That puts us in a bad position because we can't pay our rent. Some of the people I was listening to, a couple of them said, well, we just won't pay it. And I go, no, you can't do that.
No, you have to.
So
get it
then
straight.
I guess that Sharon and somebody else said, well, I'm just gonna pay the same rent I've been paying.
Well, that's all you can do for now, until they catch up with you.
So I
Then
mean,
if you're just paying the same one, do you have to pay back rent afterward? Once they
I'm assuming
recertify?
I have to.
I mean, do you have to?
I'll have
pay
to
the
catch up.
difference is
Yeah,
what
I'll
I'm
have to
saying.
catch up.
Yeah.
I don't
think-
think that's right.
I don't think it's right.
I
either.
will talk to him about that tonight. I'll give him a call.
Usually we
And,
sign,
and I don't know, now see, the other thing is, who does these researches? Remember Jane used to do them here?
yeah,
Jane used to do the research. Then Mary was doing it.
yeah.
Mary did it. Well, I think this girl is trying to push them off on Jamie, and Jamie's going, no, that's not part of my job as social worker.
Who's
As social
Jamie from the
services.
town- from the
She's
town
social
hall?
services, at the town hall. And she's saying, that's not my job. I don't oversee those people. I don't know, why should I be looking at all their rents? And it's not just us. What about all the other people that get those renters rebates?
Jamie's the one that called me, what's she called me for?
Well, the renters rebate is the other thing. We're supposed to be starting, pretty soon, we're gonna be starting to file for
That's
those
right.
renters rebates.
That's right.
And there's a lot of people in town that rent that are gonna file for that. I don't know who's scheduled to do that, but if that's what, I think that's Jamie.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jamie's gonna do the renters rebate, but she doesn't feel she should have to do the research on top of it. It's not her job.
Well, that's true. It's not her job.
That's what the problem.
Oh,
And
she-
the renters rebates, Tina's always on top of that. She
Yeah.
always knows when. that's-
Yeah, she and Jamie do
Yeah,
that.
and she coordinates that.
That's
makes sure
part of that.
that's
That's
done.
why when
Oh, she
Sharon went
called
to,
me.
probably when Sharon went to Jamie, that Jamie said, I'm not worried about your
She wanted to know
certifications.
my Social Security was my only income. Unfortunately, it is. Half of the people that got pensions, I don't have any pension.
No,
Well,
I have a
that's-
pension, but it's so small, it's almost.
And that's what they assess your
We blew
rent
it
on, right? Yeah.
10 years.
Okay,
Not
well,
pensions.
I will talk to Joe when I get home and
I'll get. the list
And I'm
ready.
gonna give him your name, Ann, in case he needs a
I'll get the
list of
list ready.
complaints. Or maybe if you have, well, like this, I was gonna say, if you could invite them to one of your meetings, but if nobody comes, what's the point?
If we're not
coming.
getting a turnout there, and it's difficult.
Yeah,
And I feel bad about not coming here. I would come here for some of the things, but 2 days that she schedules all the good stuff on Mondays and Fridays, and I can't come on Mondays and Fridays. I have
Some
a
Wednesdays.
Previous commitment.
well, I feel like I'm here all the time because I'm here today, I'm here Wednesday and Thursday, you know? But that's okay, you know, it's good that I know what's happening. All right, when I'm gonna get home, I'm gonna call Joe. I gave you the Knights Columbus report. Is there any old business to come before the meeting? Any new business? No?
We are working on this. Where does this get turned in?
Tina does have a box out there that she'll take them.
Yeah.
Good.
If you do the paper copy, she'll do it out there.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I think I'm probably gonna try, I do mine last time online, and I found it wasn't hard to do. So I'll probably do mine online. Either
And
that
that's another thing, everybody doesn't have online capability. Now,
Well,
I
no,
have
that's
a
why I told
computer, but
Tina.
I don't go on.
that's why I told Tina we needed to have copies of it out here.
Yep.
She didn't put them out. I don't know how many people actually saw them. I don't know if she talked to people about those about. You know, the last time, I was basically the one that was running around, there wanting everybody to fill them out.
Well, at least we have them. No other new business, right? No? And can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make it.
I second.
Okay. Thank you all for a wonderful year. Looking forward to, I hope we'll all be here next year, starting in September. And I will ask Joe, do you think I should ask him in September or I don't want to wait till the November meeting. I was thinking I would ask him in
I
September.
think September would be better.
And then he can always come back in November if there's more stuff going on, you know? He's very willing, he really is.